right, welcome folks. How's everybody doing out there? Welcome to all the GreenSpark folks. All right, we're one of our first webinars just for customers. A lot of our other webinars are for potential customers, getting people interested about solar. We'll get started in 1 minute here. Welcome again for folks just signing on. I'm Ryan. We've got Allie here. We've got Claire here. And we're from the customer care team, customer experience team, and we'll get started. Just a couple seconds here. All right, we're just about 12:03, and this is being recorded, so everyone, anyone that's jumping on a little bit late, you'll be able to catch all of it anyway. But one more time for any folks just joining, I'm Ryan. I'm the Customer Experience Ambassador. We've got Allie here. We've got Claire, and you can see on the screen there the couple of things that we're going to talk about, what I've been calling the big three. All right, and you can see I've been with GreenSpark coming up on 8 years. Allie is a relative newbie, but jumping on and taking the reins, and Claire has been with us in a couple different roles for a couple of years now, for coming up on 4 years. All right. So here's a summary of our agenda. We're going to give a very brief refresher about how solar works in general, and then really focus on the big three. I'm going to focus on meter reading and bill reading, and then Allie and Claire are going to focus on the monitoring app and the navigation of that. And then at the end, we're going to wrap up with some general customer resources. We will have an opportunity for questions after I cover meter reading and bill reading, and then we'll have a chance again after monitoring app navigation for questions as well. All right, well, let's dive in. And a quick Solar 101 refresher, that your solar panels are creating DC electricity, and it needs to be converted into AC electricity. Again, it's direct current and alternating current, and the conversion, the inversion is done by way of an inverter or inverters, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. And then your meter becomes a two-way street with the utility company. We'll talk about the couple different types of meters you might have with the different utility companies as well, but you're importing on rainy days, nighttime, you're exporting on sunny days, and we'll talk about that inflow and outflow. And then the grid, any excess electricity you're pushing out to the grid gets distributed elsewhere, but you staying tied to the grid allows you to have that reliability, so you're always going to have electricity unless there's a power outage. So that's the very basics about how solar works. And I mentioned a couple different types of inverters. We have from looking at the guest list, the RSVP list, we do have a mix of folks that have SMA, Tesla, and Solar Edge, which are string inverters, which sometimes I oversimplify and call a central inverter, one inverter. And then we have a lot of folks with N-phase microinverters, where each solar panel has its own inverter converting electricity from DC to AC. So we're going to talk generally about the different types of inverters. Some folks are RG&E, some folks are NYSEG, some folks are National Grid. So if there are specific questions after the fact that don't get addressed, we can absolutely connect with you one-on-one after today if our general conversation doesn't cover your specific needs. So again, I'm going to cover meter reading and app reading and how those correlate and correspond with each other. And then Allie and Claire are going to talk about navigating your app and some of the things you can look for on your app. RG&E and NYSEG are essentially the same, where you get a meter, which is going to rotate through 3 screens. And these are pictures of my system. which is a very small system, and my consumption is much higher. So that's why some of these numbers look a little odd. Your numbers should hopefully look a lot more favorable. But screen 1, as you can see, literally says 01. This is a running tally of your imported kilowatt hours. And then screen 2 is a running tally of your exported kilowatt hours anytime you're overproducing. And then screen 3 literally means nothing. I don't know why it's even there, but again, it's just going to rotate through those 3 screens. And then, so yeah, so screen 1, running tally of import, screen 2, running tally of export. You'll be importing when you're underproducing, cloudy days, the winter months, and then you're going to be overproducing and exporting on sunny days in the spring, summer, fall. So the example I like to use is if screen 1 changes by 500, that's your import, and your screen 2 changes by 250, or did I mess that up? So yes, sorry, your screen 1 is your import, and yes, and then screen 2 is if you export 750, then you're banking 250 kilowatt hours on your bill. And if you flip those, where screen 1 is imported 750 kilowatt hours and you've exported 500, you're going to either draw down on your bank by 250 kilowatt hours, or if your bank has been depleted, then you're going to pay for 250 kilowatt hours. So point 6 there, the item number 6 there, how much those 2 screens change each month. The difference between those 2 numbers is how much you either bank, draw down from your bank, or pay for. And then, so screens 1 and screen 2, screen 1 and screen 2 from here on your meter are then going to directly correlate and correspond to lines 1 and line 2 on your bill. And again, this is for RG&E and NYSEG, and we'll get to National Grid next. Okay, good. Oh, okay, I apologize. Yeah, so that's reading your RG&E and your NYSEG meter. And then National Grid, depending on your perspective, is simpler or more difficult. But basically, when they reprogram your meter or replace your meter, it starts at 0. And it counts up if you are importing, and it counts down if you're exporting. So you can see here, when this meter started at 0, it has net exported 183. So that's 0,000 minus 183 gives you 99817. So again, National Grid is counting up when you're needing to import, and it's counting down when you're able to export. So then how those correlate and correspond with your bill, we'll show you some pictures, some screenshots there as well. So here's a summary of the National Grid meter reading. Again, when your meter was reset or replaced or reprogrammed, started at 0, it's going to count up when you're importing, it's going to count down when you're exporting. The net change is how many kilowatt hours you bank, draw down from your bank, or pay for. And there are small arrows pointing left and right, which indicate in real time whether you're importing or exporting. All right, so then your meter, as I said, your meter readings are going to correspond and correlate with your bill. But your bills are going to look a little bit different, depending on, not depending on anything. Your bills are going to look different than they used to pre-solar. So again, RG&E and NYSEG are similar. And the first thing to point out is that they still use the words use and gen. Very important terminology for RG&E and NYSEG folks. Use and gen, in my opinion, or a lot of folks' opinion, there's complete misnomers at this point. Use should really say import, and gen should really say export, because RG&E really has no idea how much electricity you're using or generating. Overall in your house, they have no idea how much electricity you're using, and they have no idea how much your solar array is producing. They only know how much you're overproducing by or underproducing by and need to import. or how much you're overproducing by and are able to export. All right, so then, so that's going to, on your bill, you're going to see two charts. The first chart is where you're going to see how much each month you were able to import and export. And then the second chart is going to track your actual bank of kilowatt hours. All right, so you can see here, this is page 3 of an RG&E or a NYSEG bill. And you can see in this example, line 1 and line 2. Again, line 1 should say import. Line 2 should say export. So you can see from March 26th to April 24th in this billing cycle, screen 1 went from 12,721 to 13,188 for a difference of 467. And meanwhile, screen 2 went from 12,469 to 13,204 for a difference of 735. So this person exported 735 for that billing cycle and imported 467. All right, so then those two numbers get plugged in down below. You can see the 467 and the 735 in the second chart. All right, so in this case here, this person had a prior bank labeled prior excess generation there. They had a prior bank of 955. This is what they were carrying into the month from previous months of overproduction. And then they exported 735 for that month, but they imported 467. So you see their bank grew to 1223. All right. If those numbers were reversed, where their import was higher than their export, you would see that bank shrink over there on the remaining excess generation side. Okay. And then the next bill you get, that 1223 from the right side of the screen, is going to jump over to the left side of the screen. So your remaining excess generation at the end of the month becomes your prior excess generation at the beginning of the month. All right. So yes, so if your export is higher than your import, your bank grows. If your import is higher than your export, your bank shrinks. Or if you have no bank, maybe at the end of winter, then you're going to have a net build import, and that's or that net usage build. But again, usage is really a misnomer at this point. It's import, export. All right, so now National Grid. Page 2 is where you track your bank. And there's some important terminology there that is also written on the next slide as well. But you've got, similarly, of your previous readings and your current readings, total usage is going to be the net difference for the billing period of how much, it may have counted up at some point. It may have counted back at some point. All right, and cumulative credit is going to be your carryover from the previous month. All right, you can see some things. Let's have a closer look. And again, these definitions, these terminologies are also on the next page. Okay, so you can see there during this billing cycle of May 10th to June 9th, all right, the previous reading, say on May 10th, was 42275. And then the current reading on June 9th was 40024 for a benefit of 2,200 overproduced kilowatt hours. All right, so you can see then down below the person's previous bank, it was at a negative 1178, and they overproduced and exported 2251. So you can see their new cumulative credit, their bank grew. So the further into the negative, the bigger your bank is. So to my point earlier, by the end of winter, or I'm sorry, the end of fall, you should have, if your production estimate and your consumption are on par, then you should have a nice negative bank there heading into winter. All right. And then over the winter, when you are guaranteed to be underproducing, when you need to import, you're going to draw down on that bank, and that negative 3429 is going to inch closer back up towards zero. So to summarize both of those, National Grid, NYSEG, and RG&E. The idea is you're building a bank. You're overproducing from approximately April to approximately October. And then over the winter, from approximately November to approximately March, you're drawing down on your bank. Your bank should be sufficient to get you through the winter if your production estimate that the sales team provided for you is equal or greater than your consumption. All right, so again, heading into winter, you've got a sizable bank. At the end of the winter, when you're on over the winter, when you've been underproducing and importing, you're going to need to be drawing down on that bank. Ideally, your bank is going to be depleted by the end of the winter. Now, to that point, you have a production estimate of, say, 10,000 kilowatt hours, right? The example I've used is, if in my kid's case, running space heaters all winter long, all right? You're going to chew through your bank. You're going to eat through your bank a bit quicker. So to that last point there, if you increase consumption, I met my production estimate, but my consumption had increased. So I had net usage build, net import build by the end of the winter. All right. We'll pause there for questions. Anything in the questions, Steph, about bill reading, meter reading, bill reading? Okay. Again, to summarize, and then I'm going to hand things off to Allie and Claire here, is your bill and your meter are going to correlate with each other. They're going to correspond. Screen 1 and screen 2 on an RG&E or NYSEG is going to correlate with line 1 and line 2 on your bill. Meanwhile, National Grid, you're going to count up if you're importing, you're going to count down if you're exporting, and you'll know if you have a bank of kilowatt hours if your number is in the negative, below zero. Okay. So now, oh, do we have a question?
What are miscellaneous charges reflective of?
So miscellaneous charges on a bill, you're going to always have, regardless of anything, you're always going to have, I believe it's $23 on RG&E. That's your connection fee. Everybody pays that regardless of whether they have solar or do not. I'm sorry, didn't repeat the question. Miscellaneous charges on bills. All three utilities have a basic connection fee, customer charge, for being connected to the lines and the wires for that upkeep. The utility companies have also lobbied the Public Service Commission to charge additional CBC or SBC charges, depending, I think different bills label it differently. Those are charges based on the size of your system that, again, go towards renewable energy programs, that sort of thing. We are not happy with it. Obviously, it de-incentivizes going solar. And so we would love to see the Public Service Commission get rid of those charges, but that is at the current state. Those charges are something that are in place.
I only have one more.
Okay.
Are you able to plot it on your
Let's see. Oh, yes, I can look and see. So one of the GreenSpark installers said the third meter screen of all 8s is to prove that all the LCD segments are working. Okay. Yeah, I think that does make sense, that the third screen is there to verify and legitimize that it's functioning properly. That I have heard that explanation before. Thank you, Andre. Okay. Again, we'll have a chance for additional questions at the end, but I want to keep moving so that Allie and Claire can talk about monitoring apps.
Hi, everybody. Like Ryan said, my name is Allie. I am the customer care project leader, the customer care manager. I'm just going to be going briefly through everyone's monitoring apps. They're all a little bit different. So we're going to go through some slides just showing you the high level points to look out for as you're looking through them, and what indicators would be showing some problems with your system and when to reach out to us. And then Claire will be going over the Tesla slides at the end. So I'll be going over SMA, SolarEdge, and Enphase, and then she will pick up where I leave off. So when you go into your monitoring apps, typically it's pretty easy to see how much you've made in a day. If you're looking at the day, week, or month view, you can kind of hover over, which I'll show you, to see how much each day has made. But sometimes it's hard to know what those numbers mean and whether it's good or bad. We have a little equation here that can help you get a ballpark idea of what a really good day for your system might be. So you would take the size of your system, so let's say it's 10 kilowatts, times by the hours of daylight, so 12 hours. That comes out to be 120 kilowatt hours. That's how much it could make on a good day at the equator. Obviously, we do not live at the equator, so we're going to divide that by 2 to get a more accurate number. That leaves you at 60 kilowatt hours. This is just a ballpark or frame of reference, so if you're looking at it, you may be a little under, a little over on a sunny day, but it gives you a good idea of what a good day might look like and give you something to refer back to. Production estimate and guarantee. So everybody who has a system with us has a production estimate that they can find on their original contract with us. The way those are created is by determining the number of panels, the orientation those panels might be, the amount of shade that those systems might have from, let's say, trees, the tilt of the roof. All sorts of things go into creating this number. So equal size systems won't have an equal estimate. We at GreenSpark have a 90% production guarantee for our customers. So what that means for you is that if you do not create 90% of the production estimate in your year, so annually, we will pay you 15 cents per kilowatt hour of what we missed of that 90%. The caveat to that is some people have Obsidian, so your production guarantee will be paid out directly through them. That leads us to what your year should look like. When you go through the app, we're going to show you all the different options or different views you might have. If you're in your first year, you can go to the lifetime option and it'll show you everything that you've created so far. So that works well if it's your first year. And you can compare it to your production estimate on your contract to see how you're doing and if you're on track. After your first year, we suggest using the annual, yearly, or custom version so that you can see year to year what you've made and kind of compare from there. Through these slides, we're going to kind of go through what to look for and what a good system looks for, but it also shows you indicators of problems. One of those being your bell curve. On a sunny day, it should look like a pretty bell curve, at least overarching. There may be some dips from cloud coverage or shading, but overall, it should be a nice, pretty bell curve. If it's a beautiful sunny day all day and you check in the evening and it's all over the place, or there is no bell curve, that's a good sign that there's a problem. Another thing you can look for SolarEdge and Enphase only is your layout tab or your array tab, which will show you your actual system and all the panels. They're color coded, so you're going to look for blue panels and you want them all to be kind of the same color blue and producing the same amount of energy on each system. If you see a blacked out one, for instance, a blacked out panel and everything else looks blue, that's a big indicator that there's a problem. So you could reach out to us and we can take a look at everything. And the last one being no evidence of production. So if it just says it's not producing, that could be a number of things, but that's a good time to reach out to us as well. As Ryan mentioned before, it's important to always remember that what you see in your monitoring app is always going to be different than what you see on your bills or your utility meter readings because generation is not the same as production. So the first one we're going to go through is Enphase. This is what you will see on your energy tab on the website. When you first log in, you will start on this status tab. So you'll want to navigate to this middle tab for energy. This is where you can look and change your view and see day, week, month, year, lifetime, or custom, where you can select your own dates to see specific things. If you want to look at the date range that your bill is for, that kind of thing. And then here you can see our pretty bell curve. Obviously there's some dips in there, but overall it's a nice bell curve for the day. That looks really good. And then on the month view over here, you can see all the days of that month so far, and you can hover over them to see what each day produced. And that's where you can kind of take that equation we talked about and apply it and see if it was a good day. Over here is another view of that energy tab under lifetime. So you can see what we made in 2024 versus 25, see if it's kind of even year to year or if it's really different. And then when you make your way over to the array tab up at the top here, this is where you'll be able to see those panels. As you can see, this system looks really good. It has all blue panels. They're all around the same color blue. One thing to note is that if you have two different systems, like you can see here, there is a variation in color on this one, but that can be due to just orientation or more shading on that one if you have it on a garage or it's just facing a different direction. It's very normal to see them be a little bit of a different color blue. The big thing really to look out for is one not producing or showing completely black. Next, we're going to move on to SMA. So this is a picture of what a dashboard might look like for you guys. Oops, sorry. How do you go back? There we go. It wasn't working for me. Sorry about that. So this is what your main dashboard will look like when you log into SMA. It obviously gives a lot of information. So I'm just going to point out the main things we suggest you look for. The first being under energy and power right here. You can see that the system is producing, which is what you want to see. You always want to see it producing, obviously. If you see it not producing or showing as 0, the first thing we suggest you check is right down here where it says a few seconds ago. This will tell you the last time it reported, or communicated with the portal. If it's an hour or less, that's pretty normal. Not all systems report at the same speed. Some are slower than others. So as long as it's an hour or less, it's nothing to be concerned about. But if it is beyond that, I would suggest reaching out to customer care so we can take a look at your system. And the last thing is this check mark over here. You can see it's green right now, which, as we all know, is probably a good sign, right? So we want it to be green at all times, but there are two other colors it could be. It could be yellow or red. Yellow, we wouldn't want you to be too concerned about because most of the time they're what we call nuisance errors or errors that will clear themselves or resolve on their own. So if you notice at the beginning of a day that it's yellow, we suggest kind of checking at the end of the day or the next morning, and it typically resolves on its own. If it persists for several days, definitely reach out to us and we can take a look at that. If it's red, that's when you definitely want to reach out because that's more than likely a fault or an error that we will have to look into and maybe come out and see your site. So then you will want to navigate over to the side here to the monitoring tab and click energy and power. That's going to bring you to this page, which gives you a way more elaborate view of your production. You can see all sorts of different views up here. And then down here, just like Enphase, has the option to select day, week, month, year, or lifetime. You can see this one's on day and it says the 10th, so this one's highlighted over here. But you can also see the previous days have those bell curves, which is good to see. And then because we have day selected, that determines what you see when you scroll down the screen, which is here. So here's that bell curve we talked about. A nice looking bell curve, probably some cloud coverage in the middle there, but overall a really nice bell curve. Down here is a view of March, or a monthly view of March 2025. The blue lines here are showing you day by day, so you can highlight it, kind of see what each day was, and then compare it to that equation we talked about. This gray line, you might not have on yours. It's kind of determined by the settings, like if you want it there or not, but all that is taking the average of all the days in previous Marches and coming up with an average number and putting it across the days. So it's not going to be even every day. Your production, you can see, is like lower here, higher here. It's just an average. So if it's below that and you do have that showing, nothing to be concerned about. This is just a picture of your app on your phone. We just wanted to throw those in there so you can see what it might look like on there. When you log in, you will be on this dashboard tab down here, so you'll navigate to history. And this is where you can do the same selections you did up on the website. Oops, sorry about that. On the website, and then you can see your bell curve, the day, month, year, and lifetime. Finally, we have Solar Edge. This is what the website will look like. This is your dashboard. So you'll be able to choose stuff up here and make your selections. Again, those bell curves are showing, that's what we want to see. And then down here, it's in this monthly view. This is showing all of these years here, and it's color coded so that you can compare every year to see if you're kind of similar every year. This also will show kind of a bell curve over the year, especially where we live. You'll see like when we have our warmer and sunnier months and then go down toward winter. You can see that this system looks really good, very similar every year. There's some dips here and there, but for the most part, it all looks very similar. Then you're going to move to your layout tab here. This is where you'll see that view we talked about before for Enphase. So you'll be able to see your panels. You can see this one's all blue. That's what we want to see. They're all producing pretty similarly. They're all about the same color blue. This one is a little bit of a different color blue, but still the same within the array, which is what we want to see. Again, that can just be from shading or orientation, being on a different part of a roof, all different things like that, but nothing to be concerned about as long as it's producing well. And then over here is just another view. So this is a yearly view. You can see that it is marked from April to April. So this is a custom setting. And then we have it hovered over here so you can see that this is what you'll see, and you'll get like a total of what each month was. Down on the right-hand side, you can see these three really low ones. It's important to remember that this is very normal with winters that we have here. Any snow coverage at all, whether it's 1/4 of an inch or a foot covering your panels, will drastically affect your production. So it's not abnormal to see it super low. This past winter, we saw quite a few that were producing not at all, sometimes with just the sheer amount of snow and cold that we've had. So in the winter months, just don't be too concerned. If it's a sunny day and there's no snow, that may be a sign of an issue, and you can definitely reach out for us just to double check. And then here is the Solar Edge app. So again, just another view of it. This is the dashboard view for Solar Edge. So you'll be right there when you log in. There's day, week, month, year, and then you can navigate between all of them to see all the different views that we talked about while you're on the go. And on the middle tab here is your layout. So you'll be able to see what you saw on the website and look at all of your panels. Okay, I'm going to have Claire jump in here. She's going to talk about Tesla, and then we'll do some more questions on the apps if you guys have them.
Thanks, Allie. I'm Claire. I'm a performance analyst with GreenSpark, and I'm going to go over Tesla. So if your inverter is Tesla, your option for monitoring is the app. You're going to start by tapping on energy there in that menu in the middle, and then next slide. Do y'all mind advancing the slide? Thank you. This will take you to a page that has those 4 icons down at the bottom. You're going to tap on the third one, which is a little solar array there. This will first of all bring you to a graph of your production for the day. You can tap and hold on the graph to kind of scrub over it and see data from different timestamps. When you're reading this, it's going to be similar to the other inverters where you're looking for a general bell curve shape. This example has some fluctuation due to cloudiness, but you can see that in general it's higher in the middle of the day. You can also go to the button on the top right that says day, and that lets you select different time frames. The screenshot on the right there is an example of the month view, where again it's pretty similar. You're looking for some amount of variation day to day, but there should be no days that are 0 outside of the winter. And next slide, please. And that's all for monitoring. So if people have any questions, go ahead.
What's really important is on your apps, we just showed you some high level stuff, but we really encourage people to get in their apps, click around. You won't hurt anything. Just see all the different options you have. This is just the high level, very important stuff. If you don't know how to monitor your app, the things you definitely want to look out for. But It provides so much information, so it's important to get in there and just kind of learn your app if you want to know more information about your system.
Any questions?
No questions from anyone? Okay.
Okay. All right. So, I want to thank everybody for being here. As we said, I believe a couple times, this was a general presentation, a generic presentation about RG&E, National Grid, NYSEG, SMA, SolarEdge, Enphase, and Tesla. So obviously anyone on this call may have a different combination of those things. So by all means, you can reach out to the customer care team. Claire is the one that dives deep. I'm the one that sort of facilitates the process, connects you with the right folks, and Allie sort of oversees that whole process. So just want to share a couple of resources with you. We've developed a relatively new web page, and these are just some screenshots on the right there. But when you click in to that, when you visit that web page, there's a button for new customers who are waiting for installation. There's newly installed customers button, and then there's folks that have maybe you've been around for 3 or 4 years. So you click on whichever one you are, and it automatically scrolls you down to a section of that web page that's going to be more relevant for you. So again, these are some different screenshots from that page once you scroll down to your certain section. And you can see the landing page there at the bottom. Not going to read that off, but one of the really nice things that's been added is the reading your utility bill section. So you click on RG&E or NYSEG, and it takes you to a PDF that we created. National Grid, we decided not to reinvent the wheel. National Grid has a nice website that if you're on our website, it takes you to their website to describe reading bills through National Grid. And as a reminder, everyone on this call is in various combinations of products and services that we have. Of course, we do solar. A lot of folks adding batteries these days to act like generators. Backup, we have a couple different, 3 different battery offerings. We offer an Enphase battery, a Tesla battery, and now recently we started selling a Franklin battery as well. So you can talk to us about those things. Reach out to us at any time. Smart panels is something we're getting into as well. So folks have more, as the name implies, more visibility and more control over their main service panel, maybe when you're out of town. If there is a power outage, you can shut things off remotely to make your battery system last longer through a power outage. But there's other benefits to having smart panels as well. And of course, in my opinion, and a lot of our opinion here, if you're driving an EV, you should absolutely have solar. So in reverse here, most of you or everyone on this call has solar. If you're thinking of adding an electric car, we do EV charging as well. Always want to let folks know about our wonderful referral program. We'll send you $250 for each successful referral. Each successful friend you send our way, we'll send you $250. If you happen to know someone that owns a business and you refer them to us, it can be up to $2,000 of a referral bonus. We are on a very big kick lately for Google reviews. Google reviews, as you can see from the bullet points there, have some very positive benefits, reasons why we're going for Google reviews. So we can send you the link at any time, or if you just go to Google and then type in GreenSpark Solar into the search box, it'll take you to the Google reviews section. But all of our signatures here at GreenSpark have the Google reviews link in them as well. And we're always looking for folks to have a nice little happy hour house party at their house. We'll do all the legwork. We'll bring the food, we'll bring the drink. You just bring your friends, and we'll tell them all about solar and grow solar in your neighborhood. All right. Any questions at this point? We'll keep an eye out here for a minute or two. as I was saying, I believe there's some brand new customers that haven't been installed that are on the call. I will be reaching out at some point after your installation to offer a new customer welcome visit, virtual or in person. But we can go through some of these things. But at any point, you can reach out to customer care directly, customercare@greensparksolar.com, or reach out to me. And we made it nice and simple, just Ryan@greensparksolar.com, and I will link you up with Allie and Claire and the rest of the customer care team to get your issues, knock on wood that you don't have any, but get your issues resolved. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. Want to, again, we'll stick around for another minute or two here. We've brought Claire. One of the reasons we included Claire is because she's the one that dives deep. So she might be able to answer some of the tougher techie questions that some folks might have. All right, check the chat here. Hopefully that means we did a good job and provided you the information you needed. But again, reach out to me or customer care at GreenSpark Solar at any time. I believe our project manager, Steph, is going to make this recording available as well. In the follow-up email, believe you're all going to get a thank you email for attending today, and the link should likely be in there. So thank you again.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a great day. Happy Earth Day.
Thanks, everyone.